With Trump being implicated for spending a lot of time alone with one of Epstein's underage victims in one of Epstein's own emails, I think it's time to do like a little cultural autopsy of this particular political moment. Millennials and Gen X talk about this a lot, but on weekends, when I was 7 or 8 years old, I was literally turned out of my house at 10 in the morning and told to come back when the streetlights came on, which was usually about 8 at night. It was considered character building for me to like go make my own friends, go make my own entertainment, and also, my parents didn't want to watch me every second of the day. While I think it's swung too far in the other direction and kids are now kind of at the mercy of parental anxieties, this was too much. I needed more supervision than that. But there is a reason why it swung so far in this direction. First, the 60s and 70s had the sexual revolution, new freedoms for women, which was great. It also had like a weird, trendy thing of sexualizing little girls, like little girls. This movie featuring Brooke Shields was like a lurid, condemning look at underage prostitution, but it also kicked off a lot of advertisements featuring sexualized little kids. It was legitimately trendy. Gross. The second prong of this was that there were a lot of serial killers in the 70s and 80s, and more importantly, a lot of media coverage of serial killers. Serial killers who went after children used to have a high body count because police used to not look into runaway children. One of the more famous instances of this were the Atlanta child murders from 79 to 81. There were about 30 people killed, about 20 of them children. Most of those were kids just snatched up off the street, but about half of them were killed after the public knew that there was a serial killer around. One of the kids was just 7 or 8 years old. He was at the mall with his family, and they looked away for a second, and he was snatched. There was also David Lee Corwin in the 1980s, who was literally the guy who handed out candy to children from a windowless white van because he was a candy maker. That stereotype comes from one actual guy. I feel like this explains a lot of boomer political paranoia about people preying on children, because especially the Atlanta child murders, one of the conspiracy theories around it was that this was not just one guy, this was a child trafficking conspiracy, because one guy couldn't have done this, right? That translated into boomer paranoia that people were literally kidnapping children to, like, cannibalize parts of their brains. But it also explains, like, what actually happened with people like Trump and Epstein, because when they were men at the top of their power, it was a status symbol to go after little kids. Brooke Shields of Pretty Baby fame was literally considered one of the most beautiful girls in the world, and she was like 11. Anyway, that's my way of making sense of some of this.